Without further ado, let me introduce the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture here in Pennsylvania, Russ Redding.
Harry, thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you all for being here. To Will and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation team, thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for challenging us. I think this is a great moment and a good reminder, right, that so many things have got to come together to make the effort across the Bay region work and give us the results that everybody here wants and desires. But that's not going to happen just because you and I like it, right? It's going to happen because everybody sort of does their part. Small pieces, planting the tree, putting in the buffer, doing the good work every day. That's what this is about. I like these days because you get a chance to sort of step onto the landscape, and any time that I do that, it is also inspiring, right? You come outside and you look around, you step away from the big issues that you sort of have to grapple with. But you get a chance to really see what happens out here. It's beautiful to be in Lancaster County again, but you get a chance to see the stewardship and the deep culture of stewardship that is part of our agricultural community and certainly part and parcel to Lancaster County. You get a chance to meet the families, and I think it's important to always put a face on the work that's got to be done. Right, people are going to have to take the action to put on the landscape the trees and the practices that we see. But you get a chance to also see behind us here, particularly land that is in the CREP program, and I'm pleased that was mentioned earlier because we often forget this partnership that exists between our farmers and the conservation community and the farmers in the ag community and our federal partners in the Farm Bill. The connection to our state as well through Department of Agriculture and DCNR and DEP with our Farm Bill. So, Will, thanks for pointing that out, and that's an important and timely conversation that we're having right now. But most important, this is about the partnerships. I don't know all of the affiliations here, but I always look at these events a bit like a wedding, right? If you're here, there's a special connection to the person, to the event, to the action, right? And so when you look around, it's always sort of amazing, like we do at the weddings. What's the relationship? In this case, the relationship is about the environment, and the relationship is about what we're doing in Pennsylvania to make sure that the water is clean right here on this farm in Lancaster County, but also through this Bay watershed. I am reminded of Stephen Covey, in the management guru. He has this great sort of management principle about the law of the farm. And I use it often because it's a pretty simple principle. First you plant and then you harvest, right? And I think of it often in the work that we do in public policy that many times folks show up to harvest something they forgot to plant. If you're in agriculture, you've got to take the action of planting something before there's a harvest. And the planting will always be the easiest day in agriculture. It's what happens the next 100 days of the season or 50 years in the work that we're doing here that becomes the work. But it is a good reminder that the work we do today is the first step. Today we plant. I like the symbolism of the tree. It is often a reminder that what we don't see is equally as important as what we see, right? And their trees have an amazing way of finding this equilibrium between what's in the ground and what's above. And I think of our task here, finding that equilibrium between what is rooted in that tree and what's above it, who we see and what we see. We have to be mindful that there's also a lot that we don't see that is important to this effort in the roots. But the simple act, most importantly, of putting a tree in the ground is something we can all do. And I love this, that we can plant that, we can nurture that tree, we can ensure that it goes through these seasons and long term has this amazing impact of pulling in the nutrients, providing the shade, and really doing something that is important both to today, but for the life of that tree is important to us. That's the effort that we're undertaking, right? This will not be easy. In agriculture, we understand well the task that is before us, and where these percentages, when you look at the pie charts of nutrients, fall to agriculture. That will be a challenge for us to manage. But it is made possible by the partnerships that I see here today and the folks around the state that we know are committed to the same goal as we have of both viable farms and clean water. And so we stand with you today and say thanks for what you're doing, and Will and Chesapeake Bay Foundation again for inspiring this day, but also asking each of us to take the action necessary to make sure that we can get the trees on the ground and get the nutrients where they belong. So thank you all. To my colleagues, I will bust on them any day I can get. But I'll just say it is such a joy to work with folks who have a shared vision. And that was made clear to all of us on the front side with the governor laying out. And he said this to me when I asked him about his vision for agriculture, and he described it very simply as it is both a natural resource and an economic resource. And I think of the work that we do in the bookends that the governor has laid out, that is where we fit, right? It's this great resource for all of us. And today we take a step to protect it. Thank you.